All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Nick Marro, DFS here with Jayhawk and Occupy Fantasy, as always, helping you break down tonight's NBA DFS main slates on both DraftKings and FanDuel. Pretty big slate tonight. There's 11 games on the docket, only 8 on each main slate, though. That is going to be our focus. Cheers to FanDuel and DraftKings for being aligned. 8 games on both sites, so all the info here should be good for both sites. Looking forward to this one, Jayhawk. What are your initial takes coming in here?
Yeah, man, looks like a fun slate. We have Jalen Johnson taking on the tanking Washington Wizards. So lots to talk about. Excited to break this one down.
Yeah, man. Appreciate those of you getting in here early. We got Benjamin Cards, as always. Shouts out to you two. Jose always breaking in the door with a question. Appreciate you, my man. Should we be playing Jalen Johnson when he's playing against a team that's trying to tank? I would. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. I still love Jalen Johnson here. Barry Jones saying hello to everyone. It is a good question, Jose. But again, I mean, the defense he's facing is so bad, I think he could get there regardless. But we'll talk about that in just a minute. Shouts out to Amari getting here nice and early as well. So let's go ahead and get to the game by game. Again, we'll try to get to everyone in chat. With 8 games, it's a little bit more difficult. So if you have questions, try to save them for when we're talking about those games. That will definitely help your chances of getting them asked on stream. But without further ado, let's get into it here. Pretty interesting game to open things up at 7 p.m. Eastern. We have the Philadelphia 76ers taking on the Pacers in Indiana. Sixers, pretty decent side favorites on the road here, 233.5 point total. We are waiting on some news in this one, namely Joel Embiid. He is questionable, still questionable as of a few minutes ago. Good news is this is the first game on the slate. If he's in, I think he's playable. They don't really play him much on limited minutes. It's like he's either good or he's not. We have him for 30 if he's in. Sub 10K on both sides. Very soft matchup. I think he looks excellent. If he's out, Maxi's going to look good here again. A bit of a disappointment at times as chalk recently, but again, such a good matchup. If Embiid's off the floor, we're already going to be without Paul George, so he's going to look pretty good here. And honestly, if Embiid's in, you could probably play him as well. You're just going to have to hope the game stays close. Oubre is back and available. Again, Paul George still out as he's suspended. Man, for me, it's really Embiid if he's in. I think he's going to be under-owned. I think the Q tag's going to keep the ownership down. People might be a little bit concerned about the blowout, but getting him sub 10K at 10% on DK feels crazy to me. I know you only have one center spot on FanDuel, but 17% just feels too low if he is in there. And again, if he's not, we're probably going to see Drummond start. Drummond would become a pretty interesting value play. But it's really all about Embiid for me, man. I like him. I hope he's playing. If not, I'll get to some Maxey, some Drummond. But how do you feel about the Sixers here on the road?
Yeah, Nick, I love the Embiid shout here. Super low owned, and he's historically been very good against this Indiana front court. So love getting to Embiid here if he is confirmed in. And then pretty much on the same page. If he's out, I think Drummond's going to be a fantastic value play. And then Maxey, obviously, is Tyrese Maxey. Love him both sides either way. So pretty much on the same page. If Embiid does miss, maybe we could look to some Oubre, some Edgecombe. But I'm kind of with you. Assuming Embiid does play, I do like him a bunch here.
Yeah. Again, we'll have that news before lock. If we do get it before the end of stream, we'll quickly talk about Philly again. But for now, on the other side of this one, we do have the Pacers. Johnny Furphy, Tyrese Halliburton both out. Quentin Jackson is questionable. Cam Jones, TJ McConnell, Andrew Nembhard all in after being questionable. Aaron Naismith is going to be out. No Taylon Peter. Actually, he's questionable now. Micah Potter available. So a lot of guys upgraded. Still no Siakam, Topin, or Ivanka Zubac in the front court. Not a great matchup here, but they are still missing some key pieces, obviously, with no Siakam or Naismith. Jarcy Walker's been excellent. We have him for 34 minutes here on DK at 6,700. I absolutely love him. I still want him as a core play. I think he's really solid, even in the tough matchup. He's just been doing it all. Near 25% usage rate since Siakam's gone out, consistently pushing 40 fantasy points. So he looks good at his price. On FanDuel, it's more of a conversation where he's 7,300. I will say, I think he's under-owned there if he's in. Probably wouldn't be in my first or second build, but as a tournament play, as a way to get different, I don't think it's a bad idea. Jay Huff probably gets the start here. He's okay. They took away his forward eligibility, which is unfortunate. Kind of makes it tough to get to him. Micah Potter, though, even coming off the bench, has forward eligibility. Don't mind mixing him in a little bit. Nembhard's been boomer bust. Shepard's been okay when he starts. Tough to feel good about the rest of the value here for Indy, but I am very interested in Walker. Don't mind some Potter. And if Shepard starts again, he's been kind of sneaky as a punt. But again, we don't really love locking up value in the early games if we can help it. Mostly just Walker for me on DK. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Pacers?
Yeah, pretty much on the same page. I think Walker is probably the safest click here, point per dollar. I do want to mention Potter, like you mentioned. Like I think he's pretty solid for value. I don't think he's like a smash play, but pretty good price point. And then Kobe Brown, or not Kobe Brown, yeah, Kobe Brown down here. Uh, I think he's fine to mix in as well. Forward value. It's mainly just Jarris here for me, though, Nick.
Yeah. Yeah, Brown has been getting minutes against a big team like Philly, especially if Embiid's in. Definitely a viable value shout. So good one there. Let's go ahead and get into the next game here. Again, only one game at 7 p.m. We are waiting on the Embiid news, but at 7:30 Eastern, we have the Mavericks taking on my wonderful Brooklyn Nets, starting with Dallas. No Cooper Flag. Daniel Gafford's questionable. Obviously, no Kyrie. Derek Lively is going to be out. Caleb Martin is now probable. Nemhard still doubtful. And Musa Sisse, doubtful here as well. So this is an interesting situation with Dallas. If Gafford's in, I don't have a ton of interest here, but I will say if he's out and we get Bagley starting at center, he's going to be tough to get away from as a value play. Really like him on DK at 4,700, even on FanDuel. Probably going to come in under owned if Gafford ends up ruled out. I don't mind using him at center a little bit. An interesting talking point today is going to be Chris Middleton. He's been playing 30 minutes for Jason Kidd, obviously former player. He likes his bets, and he likes Chris Middleton. He also coached him back on Milwaukee. If you remember. So, yeah, I do think Middleton here, as long as he's going to continue to start and all these other guys are out, especially Flag, really, really solid play. And I think people aren't as confident in him. I mean, the ownership's coming up now, as maybe they should be because his role in Washington was reduced. But it seems like in Dallas, Kid's going to put the team on his back, at least for the time being, until Flag returns. You can mix in Marshall. You can mix in Washington and Christie. I do think Washington's a little bit overowned. I'd rather be getting to Middleton, maybe pivoting to the others. But again, keep an eye on the center rotation here. If Gafford is out and Bagley starts, he's going to look really good, especially on DK. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Mavericks?
Yeah, I think the Mavericks pretty good team overall to target here. Kind of with you. I think Chris Middleton probably the top play here. Both sides, good price point. He is in a different role, so like him a lot here. And then PJ Washington, I'm kind of iffy on here. 22% projected ownership does seem a little bit high. And then Marvin Bagley, I'm with you. Looks like a very much viable center value play here. So like mixing a Bagley, love Middleton. That's about it. I'm lower on Washington overall.
Yeah, and again, we neither of us are super high on Washington. I will say though, the model is rating him as a really solid play. The minutes have been there for him. He's not 100% healthy in my opinion, but I think at the price on DK, if you're playing cash games, he's kind of tough to get away from. But again, more comfortable paying a little bit less to get to someone like Middleton. Again, keep an eye on that starting lineup. Still waiting on some news there, especially in the front court. On the other side of the basketball, we have my Nets. Ben Surratt, Josh Minot are down with the G League team. Nothing else really significant to talk about here. So the Nets, I mean, against bad teams lately, they'll rest one of Igor or Porter or Claxton to kind of tank, I don't know, ethically, the L ethical tank. But tonight they're playing everybody, so it's kind of an interesting spot. I think this game could be competitive. Michael Porter Jr. obviously has the upside here. He's going to lead this team in usage. Claxton, when he plays the minutes, has been really solid. It's just been kind of inconsistent projecting his rotations. But I do think he's in play here at the very least. Traore's been fine. Igor's been fine. I wouldn't want both in the same lineup, but I do think they're both underpriced for what they could do. Clowney's always fine as boomer bust. I don't have much interest in the bench here, if I'm being honest. But again, decent spot for the Nets. They're kind of healthier than they have been, though, thus a little bit overpriced. Jayhawk, do you like any of Brooklyn here?
Yeah, Nick, I'm a little bit bullish on Brooklyn here tonight. I think out of all these guys, Noah Clowney, I wanted to shout him out first. Really like him in tournaments for value. Super low owned, kind of like the spot. So love Clowney. And then in terms of MPJ and Claxton, I think I lean Claxton more. Just the matchup against this Dallas front court. And then in terms of MPJ, I think he's solid, Nick. I don't know if I love him as a spend up here, but fine to mix in. Did you have any like extensive thoughts here on Clowney?
No, I think Clowney's fine. I just think he's very much boomer bust. Like he does try to be involved on the offensive end, but there's certain games where he just ends up checking out. I do like him though. I think he's underowned, so definitely feel free to mix him in. And yeah, I mentioned Porter again. I think as the ownership rises, I'm not as interested, but he's had some really good games against this Dallas team and healthier Dallas teams this year. So on paper, it's been a good matchup for him. But I'm with you, man. Don't mind mixing in some Clowney. Always happy to get to some of these value nets. Some other games we have at 7:30. A lot of games locking in the 7:30 window. First, we're going to talk about the Knicks taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers, arguably two of the better teams in the East right now. Obviously, they have their flaws, but starting on the Knicks side of things, still no Miles McBride. Other than that, they're healthy. And again, whenever we get a slate where people are out for a bunch of teams, if a team's getting healthier, usually they're kind of overpriced. I mean, pair that with the fact that they're in a tough matchup here against the Cavs. There's really nothing here standing out to me in a big way. I think you could make a case for any of the starters. I mean, Brunson, Bridges, Hart, OG, Towns, but there's not one guy really jumping off the page. You could always use Alvarado or Robinson as punts. Really not rushing there. I think we have safer value, Jayhawk. Any love for the Knicks here on the road?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. All these guys just look probably correctly priced here. We were very high on Cat the last laid out. I think now in this matchup, not nearly as good. So probably would be Cat on DK if I had to pick one, but just not a team I love here against Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I guess I would lean Brunson over Cat. We're just splitting hairs, though, just because I like the matchup a little bit more with Harden and Mitchell back there. Mobley is back on limited minutes, though. We're about to talk about Cleveland. So Mobley, like I said, he's going to be in, but he does still have a minutes limit. We have him at 27. I think that's a pretty fair projection. I don't really want to play him at his price, and it's also really going to cut into the upside of Jared Allen. Allen's had some huge games lately. If you look at the game logs, all of those games have come with Mobley out, so keep that in mind. But limited minutes should provide a slight boost to him, Mitchell and Harden. I think they're all okay. If I'm choosing between them, it's Mitchell, but you're paying a premium there. Nothing I'm prioritizing, man, when it comes to Cleveland. How about you?
Yeah, it kind of just seems like a game overall, probably more of a better viewing experience than a DFS experience here. So I think like Harden, Mitchell, both fine to mix in tournaments, but not really anyone that sticks out to me. I guess it would be Mitchell if I had to play a Cavalier here, but it's not a great spot in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. Shouts out to Heath getting in here as well. Unicorn, appreciate you guys. As always. Rocket saying it's Clax night, right? Yeah, I like him. I think there's a lot of good centers, though. But it's a really good spot. And again, if he's going to play 30 plus, I do like him. Hart only 6,300 on FanDuel. That's a great price, Unicorn. Don't mind getting to him. A CA with Mobley back, can't be really touting Jared Allen at this price. Once he's back below that 7K, I don't mind it. But Jayhawk, any love for Allen for you?
Yeah, kind of much on the same page here. It's kind of tougher with Mobley back.
Yep. Again, Mobley really does affect the rates for Jared Allen pretty much everywhere. OKC taking on the Raptors is our next game. One of the lower totals on the slate. 216.5 points, but OKC, Alex Caruso is questionable, as is Chet Holmgren. Jalen Williams, the good one, is going to be out, as is AJ Mitchell, and SGA is going to be out here as well. So even with the low total, there might be something or things to like here for OKC, especially if we get Chet ending up out for the evening. I mean, right now, you can make a case to get to Joe or Wallace. Joe, obviously cheaper, a little bit easier to get to. Lou Dort, I don't know, it's like a last piece inning. He's fine, just not really all that involved on the offensive end. Chet, if he's in, I don't love the matchup. Hartenstein's been okay. I think we have better centers. One name I want to shout out is actually Aaron Wiggins. I will say if Chet's out, Wiggins becomes very appealing to me. He's priced below 5K now. We have him in just 21 minutes. I think he would see the biggest boost with Chet out, even if he doesn't start. So definitely keep an eye on that situation there. Again, I'm fine mixing in the guards. I just don't love this matchup. Jayhawk, how do you feel about OKC?
Yeah, you mentioned it. Kind of a tougher matchup. Toronto been pretty good defensively this year. Kind of with you on Wiggins. I did want to shout out Isaiah Joe as well down here. Potentially could play some minutes off the bench or starting. So like Joe in tournaments, I like the Wiggins shout. And yeah, and then in terms of Hardenstein and Chet, just would rather get to other spend ups, I think, other mid-tier plays. So more of the value here for me. Okay, so.
Yeah, I'm with you. And just to kind of boost your call on Isaiah Joe there, 4 of his last 5 games, he's taken at least 8 threes. Those are falling. He's going to score really well. So I do think Isaiah Joe is someone you can mix in, especially at that price point. Over on the Toronto side of things, Mogbo's out. Not a name I've said in a while. No Jakob Poeltl, AJ Lawson not with the team. So kind of healthy Raptors squad, if we're being completely honest. Quickly, Barrett, Ingram, Barnes, you can make a case. Obviously, Barnes has the upside, but you're paying that premium. No one's really getting to this team. I guess that's the only reason I want to play them. But at the same time, again, on a slate where there's teams missing key players, the teams that are getting healthier are tough to get to. Again, you could pair that with a tough matchup. Similar to the Knicks, who we talked about a little while ago, I just don't really love this spot. Again, a team that's getting healthy against a tough defense. How do you feel about Toronto?
Yeah, pretty similar to OKC here. I think like RJ and Scotty, you could probably mix in like a 150 set, but it's definitely a tougher spot. I guess RJ would be my favorite at the ownership here, but yeah, very difficult spot here for Toronto.
Yep, right there with you, man. All right, let's go ahead and get into arguably the most interesting game at 7:30. We get the Washington Wizards taking on the Atlanta Hawks. 236.5 point total. Hawks, excuse me, are considerable favorites here at home. Starting with the Washington side of things. So Leaky Black, who's been getting a few minutes, he's going to be out. Justin Champagnie is available. No AD, D'Lo, or Sar. Vukcevic, who just signed a new deal, is available, likely starting at center. No Whitmore or Trae Young. So with Sar out, I think we could go back to Vuk here. And again, I think people have come off him because the prices come up a little bit. But at the same time, I mean, it's crazy. Like those first games that Sar was out, he was like 4 to 5K, and he was like 70% owned. Now all of a sudden, nobody's playing him with a slight increase in price. I don't get it. I still like Vucevic a lot here. It's a good matchup for him as well. You are using up that center spot on FanDuel, but on DK where you could play too. One of my favorite tournament plays here tonight. Other than that, it's kind of tricky. I mean, Atlanta's a good team. They're inconsistent. So you can make a case for guys like Trey Johnson, Kaishan George, Koulibaly. There's no one from that group that really stands out to me in a big way. We have to talk about Aldonis Williams, though, because if he is going to be in the rotation, and it seems like he is, a little bit cheap for his upside, even with low usage coming off 3 straight games where he is over 20 fantasy points. So maybe a little bit of Williams. Honestly, I think he's kind of overowned on DK, overpriced on FanDuel. I really like Vukcevic in tournaments. Tricky team to get right, though, lately, Jayhawk. How do you feel about the Wizards?
Yeah, man, it's always difficult to break down these Wizards, man, this year. I think I'm with you. Vuk is probably the top play here. He should play at least the first half, assuming this game is relatively close. So like the Vooch shot there. And then Alonda, or is it Alonda, however you pronounce it, Nick. I think he's solid. I think he's kind of overowned, like you mentioned. Increased price point here on both sides. So lower on him overall. It's just not a team like I love. Like I think Sharif Cooper, you can always take stabs at, but definitely a tougher team to target here for sure.
Yeah, the rotations for these teams that are tanking have been wildly inconsistent. What that means is there's variance, though. So if you get them right, it usually pays off. It's just often we're going to get them wrong, unfortunately. On the other side of things, we have these Atlanta Hawks. Kuminga likely to make his debut tonight. Really nothing to talk about in terms of injuries. Very active team at the deadline, though. So no more Trae Young, obviously. They brought in McCollum early in the trade window. Jalen Johnson, though, cover the video today. I mean, he's absolutely excellent here, in my opinion. Playing at home, I think even if this game were to blow out, he's still someone I'd want in a lot of my lineups. Kind of played spotty against Brooklyn in a competitive game. I just have no issues going to him. I'm going to continue to play him on most slates. He's just been one of the more consistent pay-up options. In a year where Luka has been a little bit hit or miss, Giannis has been out. Obviously, Jokic is Jokic, but Jalen Johnson has honestly been hitting that 50 to 60 fantasy point mark as often as anyone, especially at the forward position. So really like him here. Again, soft matchup. If you're a little bit afraid of the blowout, sure. But not as popular as I thought he might be. So Jalen Johnson looks great to me. You can make a case for the other starters, Kongwu, Walker, Daniels, McCollum. It's going to be interesting to see how many minutes Kuminga gets here. He is very cheap, I will say, on FanDuel, especially at 3,900. We are projecting him for just 16 minutes, though. But keep in mind, some of that is coming from what he did with Golden State. And Steve Kerr hated this man. Maybe Kuminga finally sees the training wheels come off. So I honestly don't mind taking a few stabs on him here, just hoping he falls into more minutes. And even if he doesn't, he's historically a really good point per minute producer. So maybe one of the riskier plays that I'm going to call out tonight. I don't think Kuminga is crazy, though. I'd definitely mix him in. But Jalen Johnson will be a staple in a lot of my single entry lineups. How do you feel about these Atlanta Hawks?
Yeah, Nick, I think this may be the best matchup overall here for Atlanta. Fantastic spot. I'm with you. Jalen Johnson, he's been about as consistent as you can draw it up here. So love Jalen both sides. CJ and Dyson here, I did want to touch on. I do kind of prefer Dyson at the ownerships, like the stock variance there for Dyson. So like Dyson in tournaments, fine with CJ. And then Onyeka Okongwu, 4% owned. You could also get to him. I just think it's a very good spot here, Nick. Love Jalen, but also like mixing in some Dyson here for them.
Yep, I'm with you. I don't mind the Daniels call at all. I will say if CJ starts at point, and we've seen him come off the bench, we've seen him start at times, I'd have a little bit more interest. Again, this is a home game, but maybe there is a little bit of that revenge narrative here if you're looking for it. He's super popular on FanDuel, though, pushing 30%. Kind of crazy to me, but also maybe a bull signal that he's going to start. So keep an eye on that Atlanta lineup. If he starts, I like him a little bit more. Obviously, Daniels has the upside with the stocks, though. You can make a case for either. I would rank them both ahead of Alexander Walker just because of the prices, but all three look pretty damn good. Before we get to the 8 o'clock window, quick look at chat. Nick Richards, good value against his old team, Charlotte. We're about to talk about that one, Nick. But in short, yes, I do think he looks good. Jose really likes Hartenstein. I don't think it's crazy, man. I mean, there's a lot of good center plays on this slate. He's priced reasonably, especially if Chet's out. He's going to look good. Miles Bridges, again, another question on the Charlotte game. We'll get there in just a minute. I will say he's probably behind the other key pieces like Knuppel, Miller for me, and then Kongwu, shout out here from Unicorn on that Atlanta game. I don't mind it. He's had some big games against Washington. Jayhawk, let me pose the question this way. Do you like a Kongwu, first of all? And to me, I think I like him in lineups where maybe I can't afford Jalen and just kind of hope he's the guy tonight. But how do you feel about Onyeka Okongwu in a great matchup?
Yeah, I think I was going to kind of say the same thing. I think he looks better without Jalen Johnson in your lineup. So I don't think I'd run them both together. But if you're not playing Jalen, I love getting to him. I think it's a great matchup.
Yep, with you, man. So good shout on that one. Now moving into the 8 o'clock window, we did just get a few questions on this one. We get the Hornets on the road here. Decent side favorites, 231.5 point total, taking on the Chicago Bulls. Tonight they're going to be without PJ Hall and Tosan. Those don't really matter too much. Kalkbrenner's available. No Salulin, though. Kobe White's available, I think, for the first time for Charlotte. So, again, another team that's getting a little bit healthier than they have been. We got the question about Miles Bridges. I don't think he's bad as like the last piece in. He's been so inconsistent, though. I know he has a few big games sprinkled in there. I would rather get the Knuppel, Miller, and honestly, even Ball, I think, ahead of Bridges point per dollar. So tough spot for me there. But again, I just mentioned I like Miller, I like Knuppel. Those are two I do want to get to a little bit. Just a really good matchup, even with this team getting healthy. This would be a great revenge spot, right, for Kobe White. But first game back, we have him just playing 20 minutes. A little bit too expensive to take that shot, in my opinion. But Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Hornets here in Chicago?
Yeah, Nick, LaMelo finally had what we expected LaMelo to have last game. Very good outing last game for LaMelo. I think he's fine here, sub 10%. I'm with you, though. I do prefer the Millers, the Collins of the world here. Like the price point's a little bit better for those guys. And then Miles Bridges, I'm kind of iffy on, man. I would rather get to the rest of Charlotte. And yeah, that's about it here. Kobe White, it is a revenge narrative, but I think we have better plays tonight.
Yeah, if we thought he'd play his normal minutes, I'd have some interest, but I can't really get there. But the guy he was traded for is going to be pretty interesting here tonight. We do have Colin Sexton drawing a ton of ownership. That is mainly because we have no Jaden Ivey, no Yuki, no Anthony Simons or Jalen Smith. And Josh Giddey's in and available, but still playing limited minutes. We have him at just 27 here. So as a result, we're seeing a lot of love going to one Colin Sexton. I will say this, the model doesn't love him right now. We have him at just 25 minutes. But if you keep in mind the fact that he's probably going to see a little bit of extra run here, I don't mind it. But as I'm kind of talking through this out loud, I think he's overowned. Like, I don't think there's a way around it. Do I want to get some? Sure. But if he's going to be the most popular bull here, I think there are some pretty solid pivots. Buzell is probably my favorite just because he's more consistent than these other guys. Trey Jones is going to get minutes. He would be a logical pivot, but his offensive output is as inconsistent as almost anyone's. So is it Dillingham that gets the extra run? I don't know. Again, I think we're going to see Sexton play a few more minutes than we're projecting him for. I'll say this, I don't mind pivoting to some Dillingham. I would not want those two in the same lineup. My favorite bull here is actually going to be the guy who we got asked about. It's going to be Nick Richards, I think. Even coming off the bench, if Yabusele starts, I just like Richards' offensive output more. And he's a little bit cheaper, I think. But as I'm saying that, Yabusele's cheaper than I thought he would be. So I like him a lot too. I want to play those two in the same lineup. I'm guessing Yabusele starts, but you could certainly play Nick Richards, especially on DK, where you have the two centers. I like the bigs here more than the guards, man, which is kind of tricky since they're pretty thin at guard tonight. How do you feel about the Bulls?
Yeah, so pretty much on the same page. I do prefer Dillingham slightly over Sexton just because of the ownership. I think they're kind of similar players. Both play no defense, pretty much primary scorers. So like Dillingham as a pivot there. And then the bigs, I'm actually kind of higher on Yabu a little bit. Just like his upside at his price. So slightly preferring Yabu there. But I think Richards great to get to as well. So pretty much on the same page outside of a minor couple things.
Yeah, yeah, and I will say this: I think Yabu's safer. I do like the pivot to get to some Richards in tournaments, though. Again, not in the same lineup. But Yabu having forward eligibility, honestly, as I'm sitting here, I do think he ends up in more of my lineups tonight than Richards will. Again, just because of the position eligibility. Let's go ahead and get to the next game here. Another very interesting one between the Golden State Warriors and the New Orleans Pelicans. Warriors favored here slightly, missing some key pieces. 227.5 point total. No Jimmy Butler, no Steph or Stephen Curry. Draymond Green's probable, but no Al Horford. Anthony Melton's available. Still no Porzingis, who they traded for. So again, another team that is missing a lot of key pieces here tonight. As a result, we're seeing a lot of ownership on this team. So first and foremost, regardless of whether he starts or not, I think Podziemski looks excellent here. I believe he had a triple-double the other night over the weekend against Detroit, or close to it. Yeah, he had 9 assists, 15 boards. Scored over 50 fantasy points, though. I really do like Pods here. I think he's probably the safest, quote-unquote, piece of chalk. After that, Guy Santos seems to hit 30-plus fantasy points every single night. Those two feel really good here. Melton and Moody are tricky. I think night to night, one of them is going to have a big game. They're certainly both capable of getting there. But starting next to each other, it's tough to choose between the two. Again, I don't mind having one or the other in my lineup. And I'll say this, I would rank both of them ahead of Draymond, who's been absolutely terrible. Well, it's like he doesn't try unless he has other all-stars on the floor. So no Draymond for me. And that's pretty much it. I guess you could play some Pat Spencer. He's probably going to get the starting point. But I would rank Pods ahead of him regardless of whether he starts or not. And I feel a little bit better about Melton and Moody than I do one Pat Spencer. Tricky team here, Jayhawk. How do you feel about the Warriors?
Yeah, I think Pods here looks awesome. Nick, probably the safest click, like you mentioned. Very good matchup for Pods. I love him both sides here. And then Santos here as well. Love the price point, love the spot. So those two will have a really big chunk of, excuse me. And then Pat Spencer, Melton, and Moody. I probably would go Moody personally if I had to pick among those three. So like Moody the most. And then, yeah, no Draymond for me tonight, Nick. Don't like him here.
Yep. On the same page there. New Orleans Pelicans are getting back DeJounte Murray tonight. Not sure how many minutes he's going to play, but that's certainly significant. No Trey Murphy. Yves Missi is going to be out. Micah Peavy as well, who had been part of the rotation previously. Murray tonight we have for just 18 minutes. He's cheap. I like seeing the name next to that price, but we probably can't play him until we get word that those minutes are going to be more than where we're projecting him. Again, no Murphy, which is going to kind of offset the return of Murray. So I like Zion coming off a huge game. I like Bay again, coming off a pretty good game. You could mix in Fears, Jones, Queen. They're all very much boomer bust, though, I will say. So Zion, to me, probably my favorite, followed by Bay. Those are the two I'm getting to the most, Jayhawk. How do you feel about these Pelicans?
Yeah, pretty much just Zion here. Derek Queen, you can always mix him in, I think, in tournaments, but it's mainly just Zion here for me. Sorry, one more question I did have on Golden State. Quinn Post, I did want to ask about. He was kind of popping for me. Did you have any thoughts on Post here?
I honestly don't love it.
Okay.
I like Richards more than him. I think he's the same price. And yeah, there's just too many like 4 to 5K, even 6K centers tonight. I just don't feel great about Post, just because New Orleans. I mean, they play big in general, but they don't have like a huge center. I don't think Post needs to be out there a ton. I could be wrong, but he's not someone that I'm getting too much.
Okay, I just want to hear your take there.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Just going back to the Pels, I'm with you on Zion for sure. The price is too low now. It came down for whatever reason on DK, just 7,700. Kind of crazy coming off one of his best games. Jeremiah Fears, I will say, is kind of interesting as a tournament play. He didn't play great against Philly. 3 games prior to that, 28% usage rate, over 30 fantasy points in each of those. So very low ownership. I think he's worth taking a few shots on DK. I just wanted to bring him up. He's not going to start, and Murray is back, but I think Poole's going to lose the minutes before Fears, even though Poole just had a good game. But again, Jordan Poole probably back at the end of that bench. Next game here we have between Miami and the Milwaukee Bucks. Another game at 8 o'clock, 227.5 point total. Miami favored here on the road. Tyler Hero is available, as is Kashad Johnson, No Jovic, Pele Larson, Davion Mitchell, and Norm Powell all available, as is Andrew Wiggins and Drew Smith. So Don't know why they need to put the whole team that's healthy on the injury report. I say this every day about Miami. But yeah, they're getting healthy. It's not a bad spot. You can mix in some Bam or so on FanDuel where he's forward eligibility. That's really it for me, man, when it comes to Miami. It's a team we've been playing a lot, but this is the healthiest they've been, I think, since the All-Star break. So a tough spot for Miami, in my opinion, at least in terms of where they're priced. How do you feel about the Heat here in Milwaukee?
Yeah, Miami here, just not a team I love to target. Usually I like to attack the shooters here against Milwaukee, but kind of fully healthy overall. So pretty much a stay away, maybe outside of like a Norm Powell as like a flyer.
Yeah, Powell would be maybe the guy I chase just because I trust his minutes and usage the most, regardless of who's in or out. But again, not a spot we're really rushing to. Other side of the ball here, we do have the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis still out, no Torian Prince or Alex Antetokounmpo. You told me earlier pre-stream, Kevin Porter is kind of the talking point of the day over on Prize Picks because they're giving him a discount for his PRA. I think it's as easy as this. On DK, he's a great play, sub 8K. I think it's a good match. It's tough to get away from. On FanDuel, he's 9,400, just overpriced. I don't want to play him at all over there. Rollins is fine, kind of neutral on him, but I do think Porter at his price on DK is very tough to get away from. So he's the one I'm most interested in. My boy Cam Thomas has been lighting it up in limited minutes, but he's not getting more than 20 minutes a night. No ownership. I don't mind throwing a few darts there. That's probably it for me, though. Turner is back. Don't know what his minutes are going to look like. Jang and Sims have had some big games, but now with Turner back, I don't know how much we see them. So Porter for me on DK, maybe a little bit of Rollins, maybe a little bit of Thomas. That's pretty much it for Milwaukee for me. Jayhawk, how about you?
Yeah, pretty much just KPJ here. That DK price point does seem too low overall for his upside. So love mixing in KPJ. And then after that, like not much I love here. Rollins is getting some steam here on FanDuel, but I think I'd rather just get to KPJ on DK.
Yeah, I mean, on DK, where he's half his own, I mean, he could outperform him and be a good leverage point. And again, he's cheaper on FanDuel. So it's really just the guards there. But yeah, I think we are through the game by game, about to get to those dummy builds. Before we do, let's take a quick look at chat. Jose asking if it would be wise to stack the big three for Charlotte. I think that's a no, just because on a slate this big for all of them to get there, it'd be kind of tough. I think you could have two, probably not three, Jayhawk. How many Hornets do you want in your lineups?
Yeah, definitely not more than two. And even two, I feel like might be stretching it a little bit. So yeah, I'm with you.
Yep. From that same game, Unicorn saying if everyone's waiting for Giddey's minutes to go up, he's going to keep playing him. Yeah, if you could catch that lightning in the bottle one slate before everyone else, that could be the difference in taking down a tournament. Moody, mentioned by Unicorn here as well. Yabu or Bagley, I think it's as easy as if Gafford's in, Yabu. If Gafford's out, Bagley. Jayhawk, how do you feel about that one?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think I want to say Bagley, but it's really close to me, Nick. I'd be fine with either one.
Yeah, the Gafford news is really what's swinging me there either way. Any love for Nick Richards? Again, as a punt, I think he's a good bet again. Chasing a little bit there, but if he were to suddenly start, and most sites aren't projecting him to, he'd become very, very good. But again, even off the bench, I think he's cheap enough to mix in. I said my thoughts on Post. I don't really trust him. I don't know. As a punt, it's fine. I would rather play Richards at the two. Jayhawk, any thoughts on Post and Richards? We're getting a bunch of questions on those two.
Yeah, I got to look into Post a little bit more. He was popping for me. I think right now I would rather get to Bagley or Richards, but I'm fine mixing in a little bit right now. Post.
Yep. Gafford's in. Shouts out to Power there. That's going to cut into Bagley a little bit. I still think you could play Bagley, but not really a priority. Moody's been having a big game every other game. Tonight's the night. Yeah, I like some Moody. Good shout there, Unicorn. DeJounte messed things up too. Yeah, the good news is there's still no Trey Murphy. And someone else, is it McGowan or Piva? PV's out of the rotation. McGowan's going to lose minutes. Poole's going to lose minutes. So he's going to mess things up, but not as much for Fears as he will for other guys. I will say that. Belton's fine. Again, just don't want him in lineups with Moody. I prefer to have one or the other. Hero only 7K on FanDuel. Yeah, it's okay. I actually think he's going to come off the bench, though. If he starts, I feel better about it. We have him for just 26 minutes. So at his price, it's going to be kind of tough for him to get there in those. But we have seen Hero outplay his minute expectations a few times already this year, even off the bench. So not a bad shout. It's just very, very risky. Boston versus Phoenix. Cal, we're not, but I will say this. No Jaylen Brown tonight. Obviously get to the other Boston starters, namely Derek White. Pritchard should see a boost. Shearman's been sneaky when one of those guys are out. Favorite center. We're both named Nick. I'll give my first. I like Embiid if he's in. Let's see here. What centers we got right? Probably Vucevic. I'm surprised he's not more popular. Jayhawk, which centers do you like tonight?
I'm gonna go Bagley in number one right now, just because I do think that Gafford probably misses, and then
Gafford's in.
Gafford's in, sorry, and then
Yeah, you're good.
I'll say Vuk as well. I really like him. 5K in tournaments.
Yeah, just kind of shocked he's not more popular. And it's model approved. I mean, sorting by DK value the entire slate, top value play, Tristan Vukcevic. Over on FanDuel, scores pretty well. Not quite top, but we like it in so many words. All right, let's go ahead and get to these dummy builds now. Do you want to start with Vuk for value? I don't mind it.
I like it, yeah. I think he can play long enough where he's going to look pretty good, so I'm with it.
Yeah, I mean, 5K, paced up matchup. I think he checks some boxes. In that same game, let's go ahead and get Jalen Johnson in here as our pay up. Throw some value at me, man. Who are we prioritizing?
I like Chris Middleton for value 5K on DK. Let's see.
I like it.
Pods, I think we like at 62.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get him in there.
Absolutely. We could throw Guy Santos in as well.
I like it.
I'm hoping he has small forward eligibility, but if not, I'll still throw him in.
Does Middleton have small forward, or is he just power forward?
Man, DK changes his stuff every single day. Yeah, he's got small forward. Okay, so let's do this. Yeah. Forward. Key. It's going slow now. Small forward. Middleton. Come There we go. All right. We're left around 50. It didn't go to the small forward spot. Whatever. What else do we like? I mean, we got 5K per. Again, I can move Middleton up to small forward. So pretty much any position.
Man, I want to get a bull in here, Nick. We both like Yabu. We can't really fit him in. I don't know, man. Richards, if we could somehow get Middleton to the small forward, we could get in Richards double center. But
yeah, I don't mind that. Let's try this again. And it's definitely like you should probably be playing two centers on DK. There's obviously
never mind.
It's not letting me. Maybe that's a sign not to play Richards. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like him. I don't know. One of Melton or Moody, I think, makes sense. I don't know if you have a lean there.
Yeah, I think both those guys are good. I do kind of prefer Moody, but I think both are fun.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Well, it depends on the position eligibility. Because Middleton's breaking my brain right now. We got Moody in there. 6K per, not bad. I know we got Isaiah Joe for cheap. I don't think the Hart price is bad. Not that I love that game. I don't know. Who else is down here? Williams is going to be popular. Kind of risky, in my opinion. Any cheap guards you like?
Yeah, I was going to mention. I was going to mention KPJ. I don't think we can fit him. For cheap though, yeah, Londes is okay.
We can fit him. I think we can fit him.
Let's see.
We're going to have to punt the last spot, but 4,200 is not bad. Yeah, we're going to end up on that Williams chalk, which I don't even like, but just to make everything else work, I don't think it's crazy. Actually, no, we can't afford it. We need to pivot. Spencer's going to start, not Richards. Oh, man. If Shepard starts, I know it's gross. He's actually been pretty consistent.
Dillingham's
even Dillingham.
Yeah. So
we have to move a little around, guys, but we're getting there. You see where we're at for the most part. Jumping over to FanDuel now. And yeah, Bagley has been out playing Gafford for what it's worth. But center for us, I don't know. We said we like Vuk. I don't mind Claxton at his price. Don't love it.
Should we throw in Embiid if he plays on here just to get some Embiid?
Yeah, I mean, the second we are halfway through this build, he's going to get ruled out, but let's do it. Let's see if FanDuel ownership. Let me get some of the more obvious ones in.
Okay.
Moody, McCollum's very popular. I'll get Moody, Jalen Johnson, Middleton. I'll get those three in.
I like it.
We got Moody, Jalen Johnson. Didn't even need to type that one. Middleton. 57-ish per. I mean, anywhere we can find value is going to be good. I think Yabu over here at power forward probably makes sense, right?
For sure, yeah. I think Yabu both sides is pretty solid.
Yeah, power forward makes it nice. Around 6K per left. The heart price is good. I mean, I'm fine going back to Guy Santos. Moody, we already have.
I think this is kind of where FanDuel kind of opens up. There's a lot of good GPP plays like
Yeah.
Pods, Melton.
Pods I
Yeah,
want for sure. I would consider him like any format. I think he's excellent.
yeah.
Um, 6K per. What else are we getting to? I mean, the
Let's get
McCollum price is pretty nice. I'll throw him in for now. Small forward. I don't know. We got Bay. I think he looks good. Then we're just going to need some value, mid-range value at power forward. 5K. Clowney, your boy, the
love
lone
it.
play of the day.
Get him
Look
in
at
there.
that. It's a beauty right there. I think that's it for today, guys. Again, we got Smitty coming up in just a couple minutes. We'll be in the Discord. I mean, screenshots every night lately. Everyone's been crushing. That late game crushed me last night. Did not expect Jabari Smith to go for 100 points or whatever he had. Knocked me way down the leaderboards late, but I appreciate you guys being here. We got through the 8 games pretty quick. Keep an eye on news. The Embiid news is important. Obviously, some of these starting lineups could be shaken up. So this time of year, especially, do not just set your lineup and forget about it. Definitely keep an eye on things. All the more reason to get in the Discord, get behind the paywall, get access to the model, which does update in real time as we get news throughout the evening. You can refresh that, and that will be updated for you. Lineup Builder as an add-on available as well if you want to check out the videos on that on the channel. A lot of good stuff happening right now. Jayhawk, any last thoughts or words before we get out of here?
Nah, man. Let's just wait for this MB news. If he doesn't play, then probably look to a little bit more maxi. But yeah,
Yeah,
fun slate, man.
absolutely. All right, take care, everyone. Have fun, and good luck.
Best of luck, everyone.